All right, we are recording.
All right. So group 3, we had McDonald's as our group project, and I'm Megan. We have Sam, Elizabeth, Evan, and Kennedy. McDonald's was started by Dick and Mac McDonald in 1948 after their failed attempt in the movie business. They started with 15-cent burgers, and Ray Kroc started as their milkshake distributor and then became their agent in 1954. The first McDonald's restaurant opened in 1955 in Des Plaines, Illinois, and Ray Kroc attained the McDonald's franchise in 1961 for $2.7 million. Many ethical problems have occurred with McDonald's, including being unhealthy, targeting children more than anybody else, and less nutritional foods. Their biggest competitors are Burger King, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, Culver's for the Midwesterners, and anything that's quick and easy on the go.
So the first two P's of the marketing mix is product and pricing. Now for McDonald's, you probably know what the product strategy is. It's pretty in your face with all the ads. It's American burgers and French fries. Now what makes McDonald's so different with the product strategy is it's one of the only burger chains to actually be international. So in America, right, the United States, the product strategy is pretty run-of-the-mill. You've got Burger King, Wendy's, all these other people, but in Europe, where there's, a decently sized fan base and customer base for McDonald's, they serve authentic American, which drives in quite a few European people. And for the pricing strategy, McDonald's relies on overcharging for their fries and sodas and coffees while undercharging on the burgers. So for example, you get like 20 cents worth of fries for almost $3. It's how they recoup their losses from selling $3 burgers for $1 or $2. It's kind of a pretty run-of-the-mill strategy, but McDonald's was one of the first restaurants to ever actually invent this kind of pricing. It's also why McDonald's was so successful and so popular in the mid-1900s, and how it was able to explode so fast is because they were able to make more money by undercharging for the less popular items, which, over time with the lower pricing, they become the more popular items. Like the fall of the Big Mac is a very real thing, and the rise of the fries is to take their place. And I think that's about it for this one.
Looking at the marketing mix continued, we're talking about the place and distribution. McDonald's has over 36,000 restaurants in over 110 countries, with over 14,000 of those being in the U.S. McDonald's also has other themed restaurants such as McCafe, McExpress, McNext, and McDrive. In large urban areas such as like Chicago or like Detroit, a McDonald's can commonly be found in every 3-minute intervals as far as driving distance, which means that every 3 minutes you could see it's a possibility that you could see a McDonald's. A little fun fact, when I was reading Reader's Digest, the furthest that you can find yourself in the US from a McDonald's is close to 107 to 115 miles away from a McDonald's, which is found in North Dakota. McDonald's are always found in any pretty much urban areas, but they're most popular in like Walmarts, near gas stations, truck stops, shopping malls, college and high school campuses, and many other places. Taking a look at their marketing and promotional strategy, McDonald's is really widely known for investing a lot of money and resources on their very successful marketing campaigns and advertisements. they're really hard to avoid when it comes to McDonald's advertising. Whereas when I was a kid, McDonald's advertising was through billboards and commercials. Now all of McDonald's advertising is found online. McDonald's has also really drastically improved their presence on social media platforms and increasing their traffic on trends. McDonald's is currently staying with the trends as well as sporting events by sponsoring major athletes, as well as bringing on very popular people to represent the company. It's pretty hard to watch a sporting event without avoiding a McDonald's commercial. Next slide.
So for the SWOT analysis, using the SWOT analysis, we are able to reveal the company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And for this slide, I will be talking about the strengths. McDonald's is globally known for being one of the best fast food restaurants, and their biggest strength is their brand value. McDonald's is most known for their delicious French fries, which ties into their food quality strength. McDonald's is easily recognizable by their Golden Arch brand. It is also well known for their use of technology outside of the restaurant with their mobile app and inside with their touchscreen menus. We also provide exceptional customer service, and by doing this, we are building relationships with every customer. Next slide.
So some of the many weaknesses that plague McDonald's, especially because it's been around for so long, these weaknesses have time to root themselves into the society like the restaurant's based in, as well as the corporation itself. One of those being negative publicity. There's a lot of stuff on the news and in movies trashing how unhealthy and how low quality McDonald's food is. For example, the 2004 documentary Super Size Me, which featured a man living off of McDonald's for a month and getting a supersized meal every time the cashier asked, so that it was roughly a third of the times he would walk out with like a half-gallon bucket of fries, even though it was turned out that like Super Size Me was faked, and it was because the dude was a really big health food guy and he just didn't want McDonald's to become a big thing or remain a big thing. McDonald's got extremely slandered and lost 5 to 10% of their normal customer base, and their stocks dropped quite a bit, as well as a whole new batch of regulation and law in the United States Congress in order to gut and re-regulate what restaurants can sell to people. And the low food quality, when you think of McDonald's, you think of, you open the wrapper and you see a burger that looks like it was sat on. And that's also become a pretty common theme when you think about McDonald's food, which has not been a good thing for the business, is they really lack in presentation, which is a lot of what a business has to offer besides pricing and availability. Presentation is a very key point. So they have quite a reputation for bad presentation. The lack of restaurant presence in China. It's not just China, it's as well as the other, just genuinely the other side of the globe outside of Europe and some like Australia and the Malaysian countries. Like, for example, McDonald's do a really bad job in China and India and the Middle East, because these are all cultures focused on food at home, time with your wife and kid at home. You don't take the wife and kid out to get fast food. You sit the wife and kid down and make a 3-course meal instead. So that's really hurt the growth of McDonald's in a lot of other places. These really big population centers like China, India, they all got 1 billion people each. that really cripples McDonald's growth because these people come from societies where it's not culturally realized yet to go sit down at a restaurant in public. Now, weak product development. McDonald's has kind of a bit of a dry spell when it comes to unveiling new types of burgers or products. The two most recent McDonald's promotions within coronavirus or the COVID, like the last year, is the Chips Ahoy McFlurry and the Travis Scott burger. Did either of those make you want to go into McDonald's? They didn't for me, and I know it didn't for a lot of people too. Things like the Travis Scott burger, it didn't draw in new people. It made people who already went go, huh, you know, that's a cheaper version of the combo I usually get, so I'll just get that. It didn't drive anyone new in. It didn't drive stocks up. It didn't bring in more money. Things stayed the same. So McDonald's really needs to work on inventing new things like, for example, buffalo burgers, maybe more kinds of fish. They can also work on the vegan options because another thing is the healthy food movement really does strike at McDonald's and bring down their whole sort of business. And our last point is the franchise business model, where for most restaurants that run a franchise model, you need at least $1 million in cash when you call up the franchise, to get a franchisee agent to come view like the property you have to pick out and buy or plan on buying. So you need $1 million cash at least before they loan you $2 million plus of like fryers and grills and bathroom equipment and menus and the drive-through equipment. So it costs a lot of money for people who want to make a business and make a living off fast food. It's just impossible for most people unless you already have a lot of businesses. That's why franchises nowadays, they really suffer when it comes to spreading. McDonald's used to pop up like 10 a day in the Midwest, and now you get one every 3 months-ish, if that, just because it's so expensive, and they need to work on a way to drive down the cost of spreading the business. Otherwise, they're really shooting themselves in the foot because they can't have new locations because it costs too much. All right, good with this slide?
Looking at the SWOT analysis opportunities, fortunately for a successful company like McDonald's, most of their areas of weaknesses have already been viewed as opportunities, and they've already been, the company has already taken action upon these opportunities. One area for opportunities are expansion across Asia and specifically China, which is the largest global market. Their McDonald's plan is to increase to having 2,000 restaurant locations across China, and by, I believe, 2021 or 2022. Another area for opportunities are increase of healthier meal options. I know that to strangely requested vegan alternatives, which would cost them, the company a lot of money. I don't see them doing that, but McDonald's has already stayed pretty consistent with government regulations and trends, but knowing that those could increase could eventually hurt the company. Another opportunity is to invest more in the McCafe brand. The McCafe brand is a very successful brand, but they've already acted upon this by introducing McCafe restaurants as seen in the picture in larger cities, but they've also invested more by producing more McCafe products, which you can find in stores. Another area for opportunity, especially during this time, would be investing more in their mobile app as well as their mobile order McDelivery system, especially during Corona and seeing the increases now. They already use Uber Eats and I believe Grubhub, but by increasing their own McDelivery system, they could definitely gain a lot more traffic and money, especially, as I said, during Corona, where most people want a lot of people are afraid of leaving the house and having face-to-face contact. Another area for opportunity would be by adding newer, more exciting items. I know that some people say that their breakfast menu is starting to lack in excitement. They tried their best by adding the Travis Scott burger. Unfortunately, that was a pretty that was kind of a flop for them. Not so much financially, just in the long run, it didn't end up being a good money maker for the company. Next slide, please. Looking at the SWOT analysis threats for McDonald's, one of their major threats is the new fast food trends, which are their healthier options for people. The new fast food trends, when I refer to that, I mean like the new boutique local, the local fast food chains that you can find in usually larger mid-sized cities. But this is definitely hurting the brand, as it's not one big chain that's hurting them. It's a bunch of smaller chains that are hurting the McDonald's franchise, because the new trends toward healthier eating, as well as like having a more exclusive, tasty, like kind of new meal, rather than just going to McDonald's for meeting someone or something, is becoming much more trendy and popular. Another threat to McDonald's is the environmental concerns surrounding their uses, especially of cardboard, plastic, and that stuff. Starbucks, their company, has already acted upon this by implementing the use of like paper straws and more paper products, rather than incorporating a lot more plastic, which they used to. Another threat is the government regulations, as we said before, which is their weaknesses, which is part of their kind of weaknesses is they've always been kind of strayed back and forth by the government regulations surrounding the health of fast food, and specifically McDonald's, and calorie count and all that jazz. Their last threat is there's definitely a potential decline in revenue from their current franchise model. If you look at their franchise model on the right, only 15% of the total number of restaurants are owned by the company. The remaining 85% is operated by franchises. This allows the company to have control over the day-to-day goals and objectives, which could potentially hurt the restaurant if it's mismanaged. They can lose a lot of money by investing all this money into a restaurant just being mismanaged and eventually just torn down again. And this has happened obviously several times. Obviously, you've seen mismanaged restaurants with McDonald's and other fast food chains, and this could potentially hurt the company in the long run. Next slide.
For their digital marketing objectives, like most businesses, their marketing objectives are just to get more people into their restaurant. A lot of their marketing objectives, or how they go about doing that, is billboards through social media, things like that. It's pretty hard to go on a road trip and not see multiple billboards for McDonald's. Doing this, it further sets their brand image, because once you see a lot more of advertisements for McDonald's, it tends to stay in your head. So like when you're like, what do the kids want for dinner? They want McDonald's. Next slide.
So the McDonald's marketing strategy, there's a few different things that play into this, which would be that McDonald's objective is to be a customer's favorite place to eat and drink. McDonald's makes changes in product variety from place to place to maintain high status in fast food. We change our menus based on location, like McNoodles in Austria. We use sales promotions in the form of coupons and other offers through the website and mobile app. And McDonald's has something called bundle pricing, which includes Happy Meals and combo meals. Next slide, please.
back again, along with their digital marketing, one of their first successes was the Happy Meal. It's a smaller portion along with a toy advertised to kids. A lot of the times the toy is what ropes them into buying it in the first place. Another thing for the digital marketing is they set up kiosks inside their stores. This helps people because it's one less step they have to go to talk to somebody and hope that they hear them right and get their order right. They also have an app now where you can place your order ahead of time so it can be ready when you get to the restaurant. Next slide, please.
Their target audience is primarily families with younger children. It is easier when you're on the go, coming back from athletic events, coming home from school, on road trips for whatever reason. Easier, always easier. Secondary would be working class, college students, teenagers to mid-20s. Easier when on the go, once again. Easier when you don't want to cook after a long day of work or studying, whatever it happens to be. Altogether easier for everybody.
So the current plan at McDonald's is known as the Plan to Win strategy, or otherwise known as the I'm Loving It campaign, which started in Germany in 2003. Well, it was unveiled in Chicago, but it started in Germany in 2003 as the Ich liebe es campaign, I'm loving it, where they use the catchy slogan and the catchphrase and they plaster the words I'm loving it so many places you can't help but think of McDonald's when you even hear the word love. So their current plan, they mainly put, in my personal experience, they put a lot of money in billboards and TV ads. Like for example, at my house, near my house in my hometown, there's 10 billboards in the whole city, and 5 of them are taken up by McDonald's. And we only have 1, and it's not even that popular. It's just how much money they put into the campaigns are truly incredible. They spend usually $2 billion a year on their advertising campaigns, which is by and far way more than any other campaign for any other business that you'll see in the modern day. And we're running a little heavy on time right now, so I think that's about it for our presentation.